Hello and welcome to Beheaded.
Welcome to Season 7, Episode 4.
I'm Megan Moore.
And I'm Elizabeth Black.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody. We made it.
Did we?
I mean,
Are we
I just say
alive?
that every year because you never quite know.
We're grateful to be here.
Happy to be here. I hope everyone had a great holiday. We just did our annual book exchange.
Yeah, got some good ones.
I know. We've talked about this before, but every year for Christmas, we usually go to like an old used bookstore and we pick up some really cool, like classic finds or old worldly finds. And then we swap and tell me what you got.
I got 2 books.
Yes.
Part of a collection.
Mm-hmm.
They are part of the University of California Press English Monarchs by Charlie Ross. They look very librarian. They're red. There's a cool lion, very medieval looking lion, gold foil on the front. And one is on Edward IV and the second is on Richard III.
Yay.
Very relevant to some of our recent episodes.
I think the man, when I checked out, really respected my choices. We always talk about the guys at the book gallery, and I think he was like, oh, wow, she's learned.
This is a smart gal.
She is a smart woman.
What did you get, Elizabeth? I don't know why I asked like it's a mystery.
Well, Megan prefaced my gifts by saying one's cheap and one's shitty. I was like, okay, thanks.
You always preface with explanation.
I reached in the bag and I grabbed the first one, and it's a copy of Emma by Jane Austen. But Megan bound the book. Is that how I should say it?
I bound the book. I said, what looks weird about this book? And the first thing is Elizabeth's like, well, it's kind of crooked looking. Yes, it's got character.
It's a lopsided binding.
It is a little lopsided.
Like one side, you can't tell. The one side looks fine. The other side, you're like, oh, it's just kind of, the book's hanging out of the sleeve a little bit.
It's not perfectly straight because I'm a beginner.
Yes, but she said it took 5 hours, and I think there's a lot of love poured into this. And there's a cute, what do you call it? It's like a wallpaper inside?
Yeah, it's like a very floral inside
like a liner.
Paper flap.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So if you're on the YouTube, look how beautiful this inside
Honestly,
is.
bookbinding is really fun. I got into it a couple months ago, and I've been doing that for Christmas gifts. But basically you can take any paperback any paperback book, or rip off the paperback cover, which is very hard to do, to rip up a book. But you're like, I'm gonna make it prettier.
Do you rip it, or can you X-Acto knife it, or use the scissors?
Probably why mine looks so crooked. And then you pick out the fabric. You basically make the hard cover.
Right.
You wrap it in a fabric of choice, bookbinding fabric, and you get some cool scrapbook paper to match it. The one thing I didn't do is I don't have a Cricut or the machine to make the foil font to make the title and everything on the front.
Gold foil.
Yeah. You just have a blank book.
I see. Yeah, it is a blank book.
Mystery book. Mystery Cricut book.
But it's beautiful, and it's Emma, which is one of my favorite stories. And so I'm very excited to have it. And I think a lot of love went into it. Thank you.
It's kind of like when you lick the spatula.
It's beautiful. Lick the spatula. I don't understand how that goes here, but
when you bake and you make it with love, and it's because your DNA and germs is in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I probably sneezed on it. I'm getting over a cold if you can't hear it in my voice a little bit.
No, well, either way, thank you.
You're welcome.
But what is fancy with gold lettering is the Egyptian Book of the Dead that Megan also gave me. Hey.
Who knows? You can just search Google and buy that.
Was this the cheapy one you were saying? So you're like, that one's shitty and this one's cheapy?
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's beautiful.
Thanks.
It's funny because I
didn't make it.
Obviously, you guys know I love the Mummy movies. And I was like, I thought this would be bigger. It's like a tiny little book.
There's a barcode on the back.
Yeah.
Legit.
But it's still very beautiful. There's really nice illustrations in it. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube. If not, you're missing out.
Beautiful. I tried to read a few sentences to Megan, and I legit, it's really hard to read. I don't know if it's just because of the translation or things don't quite make sense, but this one just says Annie kneeling beside a pool of water where grows a sycamore tree. In the tree appears the goddess Nut pouring water into Annie's hands from a vessel. It's just that's what
nonsense.
The stories kind of sound like.
It's a good evening read. You can summon some Egyptian demons.
Gonna say
or something.
Yeah. This is a there's they keep talking about a mother nut in this book.
I just gotta tell you, you're not expected to read it page by page, which is what you do whenever I give you a book, and I appreciate that you put so much thought into it.
You know I
You
will.
don't have to read the entire Egyptian Book of the Dead,
I read everything I own. I've said this before, like, and sorry, I'm basically insulting 99% of our population,
including me, so it's fine.
including Megan, but, like, it drives me crazy when people own, like, really nice coffee table books, like art books or history books, and they don't know what's in them. So,
Mhm.
like, I'll go to someone's house, I'll, like, flip through it, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this really cool book on" I don't know, give me a topic, random topic.
Interior design,
Okay, well, that's broad, but
French cottage design.
sure, yeah, French cottage design, and I'm like I'll, like, be like, "Oh, wow, look at this thing," and they're like, "Oh, I've never looked at that." I'm like,
You own it.
"You own it, this is in your house, it's, like,
Yeah.
part of your identity." So, I mean, I haven't read everything in my house right now because I actually have a lot I need to read, but my goal is to read every single one, and for a time, I was caught up. For a time, I read every single one in my
I
house.
definitely have books in my house, which is always really fun to be like, "Oh, what am I gonna read?" And then you just pick something you haven't read before.
It is nice.
Like Belle, you have a
Yeah,
library.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
what a library
But
is.
but you are also, like, you'll have the intention of at least looking through them one day or
The
reading them.
intention goes out very far, though,
Oh.
and my backlog is building,
I
but
will say,
yeah.
like, we had a mutual friend once who just bought things based on, like, the color, and
Mm,
that drove me crazy.
yeah,
We're like, "Oh, wow, you have this book on this thing," and she's like, "Oh, I don't know."
I like the color of the cover.
I'm like, "Mm,
Can't judge a book by its cover.
yeah."
Well, cool. Well, that was fun. Good holiday? We do have some things to discuss, actually, but yeah, good holiday, Elizabeth.
Yeah, it was great. I stayed in Arizona this year, and, we went to a local wedding, and then I've been to, like, 70 weddings, and this is only the 3rd local wedding I went to,
Oh
so
my god.
thank you, friends, for getting married in Arizona.
So it
I
begins,
know.
our lovely bride to be.
The weddings.
I had a good holiday.
Mhm.
Um, I did get some like, honestly, to me, this isn't TMI. If some people are like, "Oh, why are you going into your whole medical history on a public podcast?"
Well, this is important.
It is I'm only telling listeners because we're gonna have to take a little bit of a hiatus
Yeah.
probably on our episodes for a bit. Nothing serious, but I do have to have, I have a should I say all this? Is this weird?
It's up to you if you
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I mean, I didn't never talked about my
It's not
relationship
like it's
before, and now
personal.
I talked about that
I'm
last
not, like,
episode.
ashamed by it, but
Whatever you're comfortable sharing.
maybe someone will be connecting and be like, "I had that too."
Okay.
I have a tumor in my parotid gland, which is a
That sounds very serious.
it's in your saliva gland,
Mhm.
and it's in my neck, basically. So, long story short,
Yeah,
they gotta remove it, which does not sound like fun.
but you gotta do it.
I gotta do it, and it's happening mid-January, so I'm gonna be a little bit out of commission. The recovery sounds like it's gonna suck.
I think it's gonna be a tough recovery, I'm not gonna lie.
There's, like, drainage to I don't need to get into it, but anyways, that I won't get TMI on. Anyways, nothing serious, but I gotta just get it taken care of, which isn't great timing with the show.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you guys, like, posted. I'll have a lot of time on my couch and my bed. So
You might see the most content you've ever seen from
if anyone wants pictures of stitches, I am all for it.
just saying,
So
lean into it. There's a reason we have the
I'm
show.
gonna own it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, at work, I've, like, been telling people because I gotta tell them I'm gonna be out for a while, and they're like, "Oh, like, we don't wanna, like, share." And I'm like, "Whatever, it's, like, my neck. It's not like it's a weird part of my." You can see the tumor sticking out of my neck,
But you have but a little neck.
and now this is how you get people to watch the YouTube show. Now they're like, "Oh, let me zoom in on her neck."
Yeah, after the surgery, our YouTube viewers are just gonna explode. They're like, "Gotta see this."
So we'll figure out the recording schedule. I'm gonna have, like, a bit of a droop face for a little bit,
Oh,
maybe.
well, that's temporary.
Um,
Again, all this is temporary. You're gonna be just fine.
yeah.
I told Megan, I was like, if you need me to just go over and hang out with you, like, like literally just
Thank
sit on your
you.
couch, watch
I
like
might need
history
it.
documentaries. Like, I'm all here for you. So
I'm
whatever you need, I will
gonna
be
be
there.
grumpy.
It's okay.
Yeah, evidently all your facial nerves go through your parotid gland. Fun fact, but I've learned so much. And if you as well have had a parotidectomy and you had to have your facial nerves removed and
Oh man.
moved around, let me know. It's gonna be a ball.
Well, we
I don't
support you, listeners support you. It's gonna be just fine.
Thank you. But
You're
we
so
do have
brave.
things to look forward to.
We do.
We do, and I know we're cramming in a lot here
Yeah.
in our
Intro.
we go from everything from holidays to what is called parotidectomies
There you go.
to 2027 travel.
Yes. Already.
Yes,
So
gotta talk about it.
we've mentioned this company a few times, but when we went to Salt Lake City to go to a lecture featuring Susanna Lipscomb, that we got introduced to this husband and wife team. They're called Author Fan Travel, and they coordinate these wonderful trips, mostly in Europe. I'd say like some. Well, they were doing a lot of London now. They kind of go
Mhm.
elsewhere because it gets too crazy in London.
Mm.
Like they pick very popular historians, authors to travel with. So they've kind of had to remove themselves from like the crazy scenes. But yeah, tell us a little bit about
Yes.
the voyage.
Author fan travel. We've
Hmm.
talked about them before. You're going to hear about them a lot in our upcoming episodes because it is officially confirmed. Like we are signed up. Elizabeth and I are going April 24th through April 29th, 2027.
Yeah.
So you have tons of time to prepare
Yes.
on a Tudor cruise. And it is hosted by no other than Professor Susanna Lipscomb,
Hmm.
Dr. Owen Emerson, and
Hmm.
Kate McCaffrey. So, three of our most favorite historians, two-thirds of which have been on the show. So, anyways, this is a Tudor centric tour, and you're going to some really interesting places, which is going to be Brussels, Antwerp, Rotterdam, and Amsterdam,
Fabulous.
which you don't typically associate with Tudor history.
No.
But evidently it's there. It's going to be focusing on Catherine of Aragon, Anne of Cleves, Sir Thomas More,
Yeah.
Catherine Parr, Elizabeth the First, and of course our girl Anne Boleyn. So we are going to be there.
Mhm.
You can get tickets too.
Yes.
If you do get a ticket, or if you're interested, or if you want to talk about it, you need details. First, go to Author Fan Travel, get all the details, learn about it. And then when you do sign up, make sure you mention Beheaded, and we are the ones who introduce you to such a beautiful and amazing tour that we are incredibly excited for. I just wish it was sooner.
Did they get any kind of discount if they mentioned beheaded?
I mean, you could try. Use a promo code called Beheaded and see what happens.
We will buy you a drink on the cruise.
We will buy you 2 drinks.
Wow, we're very
I will
generous.
buy one and you will buy one.
Perfect. What if they don't drink? Cupcake?
Iced tea?
Cheese? Perhaps?
Okay. Well,
Whatever you like.
anyways, author fan travel. That's what you got to look up. I'll post some things. I'll be posting lots of things up to it, but don't like drag your feet. I know it seems like it's a long this really isn't a sales pitch. This is me honestly telling you tickets will go out and it's going to be really cool. This is your chance to like
Mhm.
literally hang out, meet some of your favorite historians. This isn't like a one day little like you see them from a distance and they do a lecture. You are on a boat with them. It's gonna be pretty intimate,
Yeah.
for several days.
And not a lot of spots available, so
Yeah, not a lot of spots available. They're already going really fast from what I'm being told, so get on it now. It seems like it's far away, but the tickets are going fast, so
yes.
look into that.
Plan ahead.
Wow, I think we successfully got through all of our points of updates.
Good. I was like,
Great.
we're gonna have to split this up into multiple episodes. We got a lot to cover. But
All urgent things we gotta
yes.
get out.
And again, we will continue to water drop some of these things. And obviously, if you have questions,
Yes, like my
don't
saliva
hesitate.
gland, I will absolutely keep you updated on that.
Water drop. Ding dings.
Photos going to anyone who buys us a coffee.
Oh,
So
gross. No photos. You know what?
weird.
You do whatever you want, Megan. If that's what you want to do,
Well,
up to you.
okay, so we're kind of excited for tonight's episode.
We are
It hits home for us.
literally. So we knew we wanted our next episode to be in the US of A. And we were debating between a few stories that take place stateside,
Mhm.
but we found one. Actually, did you find this one? I think when you went to. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. We found one that is Arizona local. So this one only takes place about 3 hours from where we are right now
Mhm.
in southeastern Arizona. And this is all about the Bisbee Massacre and the Bisbee bandits who, well, we won't reveal too much right now, but let's just say they didn't have a great ending.
As we've said in the past, if you end up on a show called Beheaded, it doesn't fare well for our protagonists in the story.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I came across this in Tombstone. So actually, which is weird, this is the anniversary to that I went to Tombstone because I went,
Today.
yeah, today as we're recording this because
Right.
I went last year for my husband's 40th birthday.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we're about 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So we're up in Phoenix area,
Right.
and then you go south a little bit, and of course Tombstone, like the movie. We're talking Doc Holliday, Wyatt Earp, famous
The
cowboys,
OK
famous, yep,
Corral.
OK Corral shootout.
Mhm.
But then even more south of that is Bisbee. But a lot of the story, which we'll get into, also takes place in Tombstone. So while I was in Tombstone, I came across in their museum a lot of artifacts and different things that we'll get into about it. And I was like, whoa, this has got to be a cool episode. And so I feel like it's been a long time coming. It's been a year waiting for this story.
We're pretty excited about it. And if you've never heard of the Bisbee Massacre, it does have a few other names it's known by. It's also known as the Bisbee Murders or the Bisbee Raid, if you've heard of those things.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, fun
Cool.
fact. So this is essentially all centered around a heist, and it turns murderous very quickly.
Mm.
And there's a few different characters. There is one main protagonist we're going to focus on, but then we'll talk about how that ties in with some of the other Bisbee Bandit stories. So the main person we're going to focus on, and again, there's going to be other players in this, but is a man named John Heath. So John Heath is originally born in Texas in 1855, and his parents are John and
Mhm.
Sarah. Very
Good
basic
to know.
names, I know. And they have lived in the South pretty much their whole life. They lived in Louisiana briefly, and then they came back to Texas. So all throughout essentially his young life, 20s, he's moving all around the different southern states. Some weren't even states yet because we have to remember this is like early America. And then when he was about 20 years old, I think the year was 1875, he married a woman named Virginia Tennessee Jenny Farrell. So they're married, they're kind of settling into their life, and they're, I think, had a decent marriage for a few years before he starts kind of doing some shady things. And he's a man who's used to crossing state lines and seeing a bunch of different places, learning about a bunch of different tiny towns in the South.
Do you think he went through both Virginia and Tennessee?
I was gonna make that joke too.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was so clever.
I like that
Who
though.
names their daughter Virginia, Tennessee?
Someone who's only been to those 2 states.
They're like, I know. I know a good name for this girl.
I know the most beautiful name,
Renee.
Janae. So yeah, about age 27 for John. This is now the year 1882. I don't know if it was him and Jenny or just him, but they open up this saloon in Clifton, Arizona. And Clifton, you're looking at my
There's
Arizona
a
map.
Arizona ghost town map right behind us. Oh, I like that we're holding our mics tonight because I can look and twist
I
around and
know.
it's still
We
audio
Yeah, side note, we had to pivot from our like mic arms because someone forgot their clasp for their mic arm.
for panic.
We don't know who.
On my microphone named Panic, and I may have lost some pieces.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So Payne said, "Well, why don't we just hold them?" And this is actually going really well. I really like
I
this.
like it too.
So either just John or John and Jenny decide to open up the saloon in Clifton, Arizona. And we should note that Arizona is not a state yet either. It is
Mm.
just known as the Arizona Territory. So it's very much the wild, wild west. So they have this saloon. I believe John at this time is starting to get into some rowdy circles. We don't know this yet about him. We kind of learn this later once more events happen in his life. But around this time, he starts getting into a few burglaries, robberies. He is accused of running a house of prostitution.
Mm.
I don't know what cattle rustling is, but
I
he's
think it's
accused of
like
cattle
I think
rustling,
it's stealing cattle,
right?
I think.
It's funny that they also differentiate. They're like, "Oh, he's a burglar and a robber and a cattle rustler." I'm like, "But aren't those all the same
Oh, I didn't
thing?"
even think of that.
Right, what's the difference?
A burglar burglarizes. I can never say that,
Is that
especially with a cold. I can't
so
burglarizes.
and this is just a stupid question, I guess, at
Mhm.
this point. So is a burglary like you burglarize a house, whereas a robbery is like you rob a person on the street?
Or is it like you break in?
Like burglarize is break and enter, and rob is just take things?
Yeah,
Now we're just making things up.
I'll
Um,
get up later.
we'll look that one up later. But he was accused of all those things. So at some point, he does separate from Jenny. Jenny doesn't, unfortunately. spend a lot of time with him because she realizes not the best guy. So at some point, he decides to try his luck in Bisbee, Arizona. So even though he has this like thriving saloon in Clifton, he decides I'm going to try the same thing and open up like another saloon or maybe house of ill repute. I don't know his intentions in Bisbee. This is also when he starts to make new acquaintances. And I'm going to name them really quick. They all have fun little cowboy names, as everyone does in this era. But there's Dan, Big Dan Dodd, James Tex Howard, Omer Red Sample, Daniel York Kelly, and William Billy Delaney. And I think for ease of this conversation, maybe we'll just call them by their cowboy names.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tex, Big Dan, Red, York, and Billy.
Yeah.
That's kind of cute.
Very cute.
Little gang, little like they're just friends, and they call themselves their little nicknames. And I mean, yeah, I get it. They're not like the best of men, but
Right.
kind of cute. They got their
The
nicknames.
little gang. So essentially they start running in the same circles together. And then they get wind of something that happens in a Bisbee mercantile store.
So in Bisbee, there's the Copper Queen Mine. And think in this time, the mine is really the central place for work. That's why the town is thriving. That's why there's any type of business going through it. So most men in the town are working in the mine, which we've talked about before in different scenarios. But
Mhm.
Arizona mines or any mines, those are some tough places to work.
Yeah.
Those have been some of the most like interesting tours I've been on, and I've been so mind blown by it.
Mind
Mind
blown.
blown.
I like it.
For example, like I don't know. Have you done a mine tour here in Arizona anywhere?
I don't think I've done one in Arizona. I'm from Colorado
Mm,
originally, so I've done a ton in like the Rockies and
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, same
Colorado
thing.
Springs. Mhm.
Gosh, like tough standards to live with.
Yeah.
They had to work in the pitch black and just terrible conditions.
Well, and they could collapse on you at any point,
Yes. They're
you're
dynamiting.
mhm.
And their pay, though, was actually pretty good because of how much their life was at risk, especially depending on what your role was
Right.
in the mine. And those who had more dangerous roles were paid more money. Their payroll for the whole team who worked at the mine was always delivered a few days in advance. But before they provided the paychecks, or like, I guess it was cash,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know if they have paychecks.
Before they gave the cash to the employees, it was being held at the Goldwater in Castranda. No, Goldwater in Castaneda?
Castaneda.
Yeah, Goldwater in Castaneda Mercantile, which is just like a little store that's in town.
Yeah.
And the overall payroll was $7,000, which in today's US dollars, that equates to $236,000.
Oh,
That's decent.
decent chunk of change. If you're splitting it, what, 5, 6 ways? Like, that's not bad,
Yeah,
you
not
know?
bad at all. So they put together this plan that they're going to rob the payroll that is going through this mercantile. So Heath partners up with a guy named Nathan Waite. And together they open a dance hall, which is very conveniently located directly behind this mercantile.
Mm,
Also, very conveniently, they open the dance hall the day that the payroll is scheduled to arrive, which is December 8th, 1883.
interesting.
And this is the day that the robbery is planned for.
Yep. So it's December 8th, 1883. 5 of those boys, 5 of the boy gang, not including John Heath, they decide, okay, this is the night to strike. So what they do is they go into, well, 3 of them go into Goldwater and Castaneda. 2 stay outside, and Tex, who's inside, is not wearing a mask, which is an
Stupid.
important part of the story.
Dumb move.
Yeah,
Always wear a mask.
exactly. So I believe it's Tex, York, and Billy go inside.
Mhm.
They start waving their guns around, threatening the cashiers, and essentially saying, "Hey, give us. We know what's in your safe. We know you're holding the payroll. Like, give us all the money.
All $7,000.
All 7,000 of them dollars." And then the people that are running the mercantile essentially have to say, "Hey, it hasn't arrived yet. You're too early."
They're probably like, I can show you it's empty. Please stop
Exactly.
waving your gun at me.
Yeah. So they were happy to kind of crack the safe and show them, "Hey, money's not really here."
Guy hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, there was some cash on hand. I think they between the safe and then other like hiding spots within the mercantile, they took and the number varies, but between about $800 and $3,000 cash,
It's a
which
big
isn't
jump.
bad. Oh,
Yeah, 3,000
that's probably closer to
considering.
like 100 grand these
Yeah,
days.
that's almost a half of
Mhm.
what they were expecting to receive. Pretty big gap.
Right.
But there were also some patrons inside of the store, and so they were holding everyone up. They were like, "Turn out your pockets." They
Yeah.
even took a gold watch.
Yeah, they took a gold watch, some jewelry. So essentially anything of value they decided to take since they're not going to have their big payday like they thought they were going to have. But while the three are inside robbing, burglarizing, if you
Looting.
will, looting, the two outside are starting to get, I won't say recognized because they had masks on, but people understood what was going on. They recognized that there was a robbery taking place. So a few kind of local citizens start to stand up to them, ask them questions, and they start to panic. So the first thing that they do when confronted by someone named JC Tapanier, if I'm saying that correct.
Looks right to me.
Yeah. He was actually an assayer for the local mine and he was leaving a saloon when he saw them. So he said something to the effect of, I don't know if you wrote down what he said.
I don't have what he said, but I have what someone else said.
Okay.
Well, I have that basically, yeah, he yells like, "Hey, whatever," is probably what he said.
He
Like,
was like, "Hey, like, get
"What
out
are
of
you
there. What are
doing?
you
What are you
doing?"
guys?"
Mhm.
And he gets shot in the head instantly.
Yeah.
I have the quote from the deputy sheriff who was at dinner at the Bisbee house, which is um like a boarding house with a restaurant.
Mm.
They see that it's the sheriff and they say, "You are the one we want," which is like a weird thing to say,
Well, I think the sheriff said something first to them,
probably.
like, "Drop your weapons. I'm a
I'm the
sheriff."
sheriff.
Yeah.
I'm the sheriff here.
I
I
also
don't know
like how
why I'm
you're
going
saying
I
sheriff.
don't know why I'm going so country on this
You're
one, but it's just like part of the
you're getting real
this
twangy.
is like this is our stuff right here. We're normally having to pronounce French words.
Megan's tough with the French names, but you give her a good old-fashioned
Give
Western.
me an Arizona shootout and I'm all about it. So the deputy sheriff is like, "Hey, you there? I'm the sheriff in town." And they're like, "You are the one we want." And they shoot him
They
next.
do, and he was having dinner with his wife, just, like, quiet dinner with his wife. He wasn't on, duty or anything, he was
Hmm.
just, like, out and about. So JC Tapanier is dead, D. Tom Smith, the deputy sheriff, is dead, and then a woman comes out. She's actually the one, running the local boarding house, the Bisbee house.
Mhm.
She comes out and you can see her silhouette in the doorway, and they shoot her right away. I think at this point, they're just shooting everyone who's
Yeah.
involved, and this is super unfortunate. Trigger warning. She ends up being pregnant. So
Yeah.
they shatter her spine with one shot, and obviously she loses the baby and her life as well.
33 years old. Her name was Annie Roberts.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Yeah. And then that's not enough because there's another guy, John A. Noley, who was a freighter standing next to his wagon. I believe a freighter is just like a transport man. He's there, same thing. He's in the line of fire, so he gets shot. And then one man who's called Indian Joe.
Which does that not remind you of like Tom and Huck, like the Disney version with
Oh, yeah, mhm.
wasn't there an Indian Joe?
I don't
Wasn't
remember
that
his name, but it's something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Oh,
seen that in a while. Rachel Lee Cook was in that.
who was that?
She's All That Girl? No?
I just know
My 90s kids out there?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas was in it.
Alright,
Okay, we're not getting distracted by Disney movies
no.
again.
But Indiana Jones didn't die, thank God, but he did wound his leg. So again, at this point, like the bandits are panicked. They're just shooting everybody. And then they get the loot, they get on their horses,
Hmm.
and they run away. There was another deputy sheriff named William Daniels who saw all this happen. So he kind of chased after the bandits on foot and he emptied his revolver, but missed them and they got away.
I mean, in the end, so we had JC, the deputy sheriff, Annie Roberts, John A. Noley, all shot and killed.
Hmm.
So there's 4 deaths, and then Indian Joe was badly injured. So that's a pretty bloody massacre. It all happened under 5 minutes. It was really fast. I don't think they went into it expecting all of that would happen, but it
Yeah.
definitely escalated very quickly.
Hmm.
And then it just turned into shoot whoever's moving at you. Um, but that is a higher death rate than the OK Corral, which is so famous, probably just because of the people who were involved with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, like, that's probably the more famous of the shootouts, but this one had terrible repercussions, a terrible turnout,
Mhm.
and I think what makes it so sad is it was the innocent bystanders. Of course, the deputy sheriff, I think, is there to protect and serve the laws, so he's, like, hopefully going at it bravely. Same with the deputy, Daniels, right, who
Right.
was trying to chase after them at the end and didn't get shot.
Yeah.
But I think the innocent bystanders is what makes this so sad.
Right, because it was just kind of a bloodbath, and it was very
Unexpectedly. They're just
brief.
enjoying their evening. Yeah.
Exactly. And you're probably wondering, "Okay, but what about John Heath? Like, how does he tie into any
Why
of
did we
this?"
even talk about him?
Right. Well, this is where the story turns and gets very juicy. So, obviously, the robbers, we'll call them the Bisbee bandits, they split. So, they leave, allegedly, they split up the money and parted ways. Copper Mine Company offers $2,000 as a reward for anyone who catches the robbers or, has critical
Just a
information.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Considering that they were trying to do all this for 7,000.
Mhm.
Keep talking. I'm gonna see
Okay,
what
she's
that
gonna
is.
do the
I'm gonna
math.
look and see what that is in modern day
Yeah,
conversion.
it ain't small. But then there's multiple posses that go out and they look for the robbers. And who's in one of these posses? John Heath. So John Heath all of a sudden is this noble, righteous man who says, "Don't worry, I'm going to catch the Bisbee bandits, guys." He goes out with a posse, and immediately the people that are with him in his posse start to like pick up on fishy signs. He starts following cold trails, like they're turning around at certain points.
Hmm.
Megan, you look like you know
I do know
what.
$3,000 in 1883 was approximately $100,000 today.
Oh, but it was $2,000.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
2,000. I wasn't listening. I'm so sorry about that.
Try again.
I mean, that would be cool if it was. Why did
St
I do
Still a
that?
lot of money.
I'm sorry. It's the tumor. It's
That's
just
the
ruining my.
tumor. She can't think
I'm gonna
straight.
milk this for all it's worth. It's about 77,000.
That's a lot of money. That's
Yeah.
good money. So John Heath is essentially letting all these trails go cold. And the people that are with him are like, "All right, dude, you're clearly covering up for these guys." Like it's to the point where you're ignoring tracks that lead a certain way. You're leading us astray on these wild goose chases. So he immediately becomes a suspect. They start investigating his past and they find out all those things we had mentioned before about the other robberies, about the house of prostitution. They realize, oh, we don't know who this guy is because he's new to town, but he does not have a good track record. And now he just lost us, the Bisbee bandits.
Mhm.
So as soon as he kind of gets back into town, he's arrested. And
That
I
sucks.
know he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I'll catch him. I'll throw him off the scent for you, bros."
He shouldn't have
And
even
then,
gotten involved.
yeah, I think he tried too hard.
Here he is getting deputized for helping out with this posse of trying to chase down the bandits,
Yeah,
and he just put the spotlight on himself.
yeah.
Do you think he thought it would be more suspicious if he didn't get involved? If they're like, "Why isn't that Heath guy who just moved here today and started his business behind the store that got robbed?"
I mean, I don't know because I don't know how many people knew him in town yet. He was fairly
He
new.
just
He
got
could have just
there.
blended right in. Instead, he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I'll find them."
Don't worry, I'll completely change their course of search.
But eventually, they were all caught. And I think you have some details on where exactly. I know that one was caught in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Two were caught back in Clifton because they went to an old bar they used to go to, and they were like flashing their money around, buying everyone drinks. And then two were caught in Sonora, Mexico.
Not only were they flashing their money, but they were also flashing the gold watch that they stole
You're right.
that had the engraving on it of the person who they stole it from. And the bartender had a really good eye to catch that, which is great attention to detail, dude. So the bartender picked up on that and was like, "These are our guys."
Very Sherlock
Um,
Holmesy.
but yeah, Tex with no mask. He was caught in Arizona, and then York was in New Mexico.
Hmm.
Tex and Red were the two who were in Clifton. Dan was in Mexico. He got caught after having a brawl in Sonora.
Sonora, yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I keep wanting to say Sonoma.
I know.
She
When
ran
we were
off
going through our
something
notes, she's like,
between.
Sonoma. I'm like, wow, you made it to Napa.
And also what's kind of cool is the because the two who were arrested in Mexico, the Mexicans got a reward, and we couldn't figure out if it was coming from the US government or from the
The
mining
mining
company,
company.
but
Yeah.
they were rewarded. They were the ones who received the reward for catching the 2 in Mexico.
Yeah, they were happy to give up the American who trying to hide there.
Mm. February 6th, they're all indicted. They do have 2 separate trials, though, and this is really important, and so to explain why, there's the 5 who were physically involved in the robbery and in the shootings,
Mhm.
and because they couldn't fully prove at the time that John Heath was involved, he had his own separate trial because he was kind of a different situation, and I thought this was interesting. At the time in 1880,
4.
we're now in 84, yep,
Yeah.
because we're now February 6th. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're now in 1884. Even though the 3 men who were inside the mercantile while they were doing the robbing,
Mhm.
even though they didn't kill anybody, it was only the 2 guys. It was Red and it was who, Dan outside? Yeah, Red and
Red
Big
and
Dan
Dan.
were the ones outside who were causing all the trouble. Red and Big Dan were the only ones who shot people,
Right.
but they were all able to get charged for murder because at the time,
Mhm.
if there was a crime within a crime that resulted in murder.
Inside your dream. Sorry.
What's that
That's an
from?
Inception and slash South Park joke.
Oh,
If
gotcha.
you know, you know. Continue.
I don't know.
Okay.
But because it started as a robbery, but then inevitably turned into murder, they were all able to get charged for murder. Which
Right.
nowadays, those would have been all charged very
Separately.
separately. One person would have just been charged for robbing.
You never know though. Sometimes like I find out laws that still exist that were from like this time
Uh
and I'm like,
huh.
"Oh, that still exists and you never got rid of that law." So,
Yeah,
I
actually.
mean, let's try
Mm,
and rob a local
Nope,
bank and
nope,
find
that
out.
is not on record, and we're not doing anything of the sorts to test out the laws of Arizona.
Oh, you thought Megan went away cuz she had a surgery.
That's the cover.
Yeah.
uh, so the trial for the five bandits lasted 3 days.
Mhm.
They for sure were able, through witnesses, identify 4 of the 5, but that was enough.
Right.
There was enough physical evidence, which I do appreciate the fact. Even though everyone kind of knew it was them, they still went through the motions of having the full trial. This isn't like if we do so many like Tudor history episodes
Oh yeah.
where the trial is just for show, right? There's
Mhm.
no real jury who's taking in all the sides of the stories. There's no attorneys. There's no defense attorney. There's
Right.
none of that. Like, and this story actually had all that. They all had lawyers. They all had attorneys.
Wow.
Wow,
Good good
moving up in the world.
good for America.
Yeah. And not only that, even though that there was such strong evidence over a 3-day trial and they were incredibly confident that these are all the men, the jury still took hours of deliberation because they wanted to make sure it was the right sentence in the end.
Right. And a
Um,
lot of them were calling for innocence for some of them.
yeah,
Mhm.
because it really came down the judicial fact of like, well, 4 are identified. What about the 5th?
Right.
But in the end, they decided that all 5 men were guilty and they all received the sentence of first-degree murder.
Mhm.
Now, York, one of the guys, I do love this quote that he said. When they did like announce it's first-degree murder, but they didn't yet say that it was going to be the death penalty, his quote was, I'll say it in my accent.
Oh, do the accent.
Well, boys, hemp seems to be Trump's. Which I was like, what the heck does that mean?
A very Western slogan.
It is. And I thought maybe this was like a well-known phrase and I just didn't pick up on it, but it's not. Even Google kind of had a hard time trying to figure it out. And then
Yeah.
eventually I found like a Reddit forum.
Nice.
Very legit, let me tell you that. But what it means, and even at the time, because it wasn't a well-known phrase, I think even the people in the court had to decipher what he meant, which kind of shows I feel like York was kind of a clever guy.
Kind of clever. I like it.
The hemp stand is representative of the rope because the nooses back then were made out of hemp.
Mm.
And then trumps is like in a card game,
Like
right?
trump card.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you have your trump card, which wins.
Right.
So he's saying, well, boys, hemp. So the rope or the noose seems to be trump. So the hemp is going to win.
Right.
The rope's going to win. We're all going to hang. Um,
And then everyone had to go Google that later.
and then everyone was like, wow, what a wise words of wisdom from this cowboy. They did motion for a new trial saying bullshit. Yeah, I love this accent I got for tonight.
Motion.
The cold really helps with like the
You're sounding
nasalness.
great.
Thanks. But that was denied. And so then they were all sentenced to be hanged by the neck until dead.
And remember, those were just the 5, the Bisbee Bandits. So now comes the case of John Heath. So John Heath, again, we mentioned this, was tried separately. And I believe his trial was February 12th,
Hmm.
1884. And again, people were really having a hard time figuring out what to even charge him with because there was no witnesses of him planning this burglary, of helping the bandits, aside from like how wonky, or not wonky, but fishy he was being
Hmm.
during the chase. No one really had anything to go off of except for like gut feeling and his sketchy past. Then someone comes forward who apparently was like a cellmate of his when he was in jail. He was in prison or jail, whatever you want to call it, with his 5 cronies, and they were all talking about how the plan went wrong and what they could have done differently. So that proves that he was the mastermind. He actually set this entire thing up. He's guilty. So they had one man in the jail who
Mm.
said, "Yep, that John Heath, string him up too."
And of course, Heath's lawyer is completely outraged by this because he is claiming that this fellow, his name is Sergeant Lawrence, because he was in the military.
Cavalryman.
Yes. They're saying that the attorney found him and put him up to this, which honestly it sounds pretty legit that that could have been what happened. Sergeant Lawrence, he was in jail because he started a saloon brawl in Wilcox and ended up killing a guy.
Wilcox, Arizona.
Yes.
Hmm.
Wilcox, Arizona. Have you been there?
No, I haven't been. I've lived here for 15 years. I need to go to more cute little towns outside of Phoenix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more outside of Phoenix. It's
Hmm.
crazy. And he's convinced though that they put up a bargain to give Sergeant Lawrence a reduced sentence if he comes up with this false claim that Heath was openly talking about the robbery that he had not yet been convicted of in
Yeah.
jail. Lo and behold, even though they said, no, no, this is a true story, lo and behold, Sergeant Lawrence has his trial in May for his own crime.
Hmm.
And what he definitely should have received as first degree murder, he got away with manslaughter and only had to do 2 years in the Yuma prison, which
That's
is nothing.
quite a sentence reduction.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that guy was the only reason why John Heath got any kind of sentence himself.
Yeah.
So he was sentenced to life in prison because of that one guy.
Tough.
Yeah.
And the jury was split though.
Yeah.
They were very torn on it.
Exactly. So unfortunately, I think it was, let's see, what was the date here? Did you say it was 3 days, or was 3 days for the other guy?
3 days for the other guys. I don't
Oh,
have when Heath was convicted. All I know is that his sentence was second degree murder.
yes. So he was sentenced to life in the Yuma jail, which Yuma is not the same town. It's like a little different part of southern
Like
Arizona.
310 to Yuma.
Like 310 to Yuma, the movie. So he's now in jail. But apparently the people that were back in Bisbee, because remember, this is all taking place in Tombstone now.
Mhm.
This jail,
Did we mention that?
I don't think we did.
We didn't
actually.
mention that.
Yeah.
Happened in Bisbee. The big courthouse
Right.
is in Tombstone. And I think it's just because they don't have the big courthouse with the jail and everything.
Yeah,
in
they don't have a
Bisbee.
bank in Bisbee. They probably don't have a jail either.
Yeah, so they moved them up north just a little bit to Tombstone, which again, when I said, our stories kind of split between Bisbee and Tombstone.
Mhm.
That's when I came across this story personally because I was in the courthouse. I was in the courthouse. I stood in the room where all of this happened.
That's cool.
Which is cool. And I have videos and I'll share them. But yeah, it was in Tombstone has the big courthouse, the jail, so they got moved for
Right.
that.
So when the news reached Bisbee that John Heath was only sentenced to life in prison while the other ones were going to be sentenced to execution, people were outraged.
Mhm.
Like the men of Cochise County, and I think it was somewhere between 50 and 150 men, they all literally like marched or drove in horses and I don't know,
They got in their
horse and
trucks.
buggy, whatever they they got in their trucks and they
That
went
would
up.
have been a long journey because
It's far.
it's about what, an hour driving.
Maybe hour
It-
or like half hour.
I don't know.
Either way,
Anyways,
it's not
it's not like it's a mile away.
it's not close by car. So they went up to Tombstone. It's also mostly minors who are not minors as in not adults, minors as in they
I
or
didn't even think of that.
yeah, that sounded weird.
Mostly children.
As
They
I
were
said that.
pissed. They were angry and hungry.
They were minors from the mines. And they're all going
Oh.
up to the jailhouse, and they're demanding to see John. When they get there, I guess the people at the jail were expecting, like, a food delivery, so they kinda let them in at first. I don't know why they thought there were this many people delivering food. They're like, "Oh, must be time for our normal food
Breakfast.
delivery." So they first kinda let the first few guys in, and then they realized, "Wait, no, these guys are
This is
hostile."
a
Yeah,
mob.
so everyone starts breaking down the doors. I think somewhere between 7 and 9 people got in right away, and they were all after John Heath. Some
Mhm,
people were trying to get the other 5 bandits to bring them along. There was kinda some internal dispute amongst the company, and they said, "No, no, we just need John Heath. The rest of them are gonna be executed anyway, like,
mhm.
just get John." So they bring John out, and the first thing that they see is a telegraph pole, and they decide to string him up. They decide that they're gonna be lynching John Heath
Ooh.
because they were not okay with him having life in sentence. They wanted him dead.
Oh boy. Really quick, can I interrupt? I have
Oh, yeah.
the directions.
Please tell us.
Um, Bisbee to Tombstone, you were right. It's only a 24-minute drive. However, it would have been an 8-hour walk,
Ooh.
and if they took bicycles, would have been I'm on Google
Bicycles.
Maps, would have
Okay.
been an hour and 58 minutes. So, I
That's
mean,
pretty
I'm comparing a
far.
bicycle is probably like a wagon.
Right. So maybe horses? Horse and buggy?
Yeah, so it took them about 2 hours to get there.
That's far. So, but they get there, they get John Heath, they string him up from a telegraph pole, which I like that it's telegraph and not telephone.
Yeah, I
That was
mean,
they had the
that's what they
telegraph
had.
back then.
Yeah.
And he was actually pretty calm, and I'm not sure why he was so ready to meet his maker and why he just kinda went along with
I think because
this.
he didn't wanna spend life in the Yuma prison.
I
He's probably
suppose.
like, "Thank goodness this is what I wanted."
He wanted to die like a man.
Oh my gosh.
So he had some pretty interesting last words though, because he did maintain his innocence until the end.
He did. Also, before I do get into his last words
Yeah.
though, lynching versus hanging, I think is
Yes.
kind of an important differentiation, and I'm sure we're all very intelligent people listening to this and probably know, but just in case if you are confused, and I know this is really morbid on a show called Beheaded,
Yeah.
but lynching is exactly what Elizabeth just described. It's more of a mob situation, which is very not lawful, right?
It's not lawful, it's a murder.
It's murder. It's a
Yeah.
mass group of people who are murdering someone collectively who have all agreed this
Yeah.
person should die.
And in terms of what happens to your actual body, because it's not a professional hanging, it's probably worse than a professional hanging.
Mhm.
Because we've mentioned this before with Blackjack Ketchum and some other
Yeah.
hangings, but a lot of hangings, especially in the Old West, it's like they do it in a almost mathematical fashion where they take your height and your weight, they determine the length of the rope, so they know exactly how much rope to give you and how much drop to give you to break your neck.
Okay.
So again, it's a judicial hanging. Like, it's not supposed to be for you to sit there and twist and turn and get tortured. It's like,
Yeah.
here, snap your neck, done. Obviously, there's botchings and stuff that happens. But with a lynching, because it's just an unprofessional mob, like, they essentially just wrap a noose around your neck, and then, someone puts it around a tree, or in this case, a telegraph pole. They said in this one, this is kind of urban legend maybe, but they said a little boy got the other end of the rope and like shimmied up the pole and then like tied it up to the top. And then they kind of, they
Mm.
all pulled the rope. And then instead of you just having your neck snap, you're sitting there like strangling.
Ugh,
Your
it's
everything in your neck
brutal.
is slowly tearing
Ugh, it's all
awful.
brutal, but
Yeah.
it's a very slow way to die. Very medieval, like before they had
Yeah.
the trap door, and that's like Thai bird hangings and
Hmm.
more way back European hangings were also very long and miserable. Not just European, but any time before the official gallows were created with the invention of the trap door.
Right.
Um, so going back to Heath, yeah, while he was very calm and like accepting almost of his outcome, which is kind of creepy,
Hmm.
it would have been a very rough ending. And here are his final words. Accent initiated.
Perfect.
Boys, you are hanging an innocent man, and you will find it out before those other men are hung. I have one favor to ask, and that you will not mutilate my body by shooting into it after I'm hung.
Wow.
He maintains his innocence. Also, I like how both of these quotes start off with boys.
Boys.
Boys, well, boys, hemp seems to be trumps. Boys, you're hanging an innocent man. Yeah, he really holds on to his innocence until the last moment.
Right.
Also, can we please discuss the fact that he uses the wrong grammatical version of hang versus hung?
Yeah,
But
dude.
we'll let it slip this one time.
I mean, he's about to die. I don't think he cares about his grammar, but yeah, it's not it's not hung.
It's not hung. Also, though, we watched a couple YouTube shows where even they were saying it wrong, and it really, grinds my gears.
I know, it bothers me.
For someone who hosts a podcast about executions,
Yeah.
it really grinds my gears. The difference between hanged versus hung.
You hung a picture. You hanged a man.
When it's in the sense of snapping or strangulation of the neck,
Mhm.
past tense is hanged.
Yes.
I just wanted to get that out there and off my
Hung
chest.
means something very different for men.
Yes, you don't. And for pictures.
For
Um,
pictures and for Google searches.
some accounts say that he took his own silk scarf off his neck and blindfolded himself,
I did, yeah, see that.
which is weird.
Others say that someone else blindfolded him.
Feel like it's the latter,
Right.
but who knows?
But either way, there's one famous picture of him where he is strung up by the telegraph pole with his like handkerchief around his eyes. But I think everyone respected his wishes and didn't do anything with his body afterward.
No.
So he was just buried. I believe his body was at some point exhumed and taken back to Texas. So I think
Yeah,
initially he was buried in a
to Jenny,
shallow.
to Virginia, Tennessee,
No
maybe.
way.
I don't know. I'm
Oh,
just saying
I'm
that.
like Jenny's back.
Just creating my own outcome here.
Back to Texas is where he was. There is like a tomb marker, like a little gravestone, still in Tombstone, I believe,
Yeah.
for him. And if you go to right outside the courthouse in Tombstone,
Mhm.
you can still see it's cut down now, but you see like the stump of the telegraph
Yeah.
pole. And
With
there's a
the
little,
plaque.
yeah, little plaque
Mhm.
they put there in 2005.
Oh, this was a big story. It made it all the way through the New York Times, Chicago Tribune, made it all the way to Hawaii about this lynching. Dr. Goodfellow was a local man. He was a coroner and he was a witness to the lynching.
Ooh,
And he, you know what he wrote? Which I have a picture. I saw it. I saw the actual card of the coroner's
I'm so confused by this,
notes on
what
the
he wrote.
situation.
Mhm.
He said he died probably by, wait, what was it? I want to get the exact quote here.
I was like, yeah, are we paraphrasing or are we getting the real
I want
thing?
to get the real quote. I was going to paraphrase it, but I also don't. I want to do it some justice here because
Are you going to say it in a Southern twang?
I feel like I have to now. I'm kind of like kind of on a run for that one. Dr. Goodfellow, he's asked to write out the coroner's description for it. And he says, he rules, Heath died from emphysema of the lungs, which might have been and probably was caused by strangulation, self inflicted or otherwise,
Hmm.
as in accordance with medical evidence.
Take that man's medical degree away.
He watched it happen and has the audacity to put on this man's death that it was ruled by emphysema of the lungs.
Self-inflicted or otherwise.
What the actual? Like, this is Arizona for you. I'm so sorry.
Welcome to one of the dumbest states in the union, everybody. Sorry about that.
At some points, I'm proud of our state's history, and other times, I very much question it.
I like living here, but I'm not that proud of our state's history, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, it truly is the Wild West.
Yeah.
So that's the lynching. We still want to get into more though.
There's still 5 men who, as we said, are due to be executed.
They're sitting in jail watching all this happen.
Yeah.
Going, oh shit.
And I hate to say it, but at the end of the day, our show is about executions. So
Mhm.
even though the lynching is horrific and terrible, it's not really a legal execution.
It
So
would not make it on this show if it was just this.
exactly.
But it doesn't end here.
The reason we have this entire episode is because of the Bisbee boys.
Mm-hmm.
And they, again, are all charged with, you said,
First degree
murder as a group. And they are all set to be hanged in March of the same year, 1884. So in March 1884, they literally start to send out tickets, like public tickets, like, "Hey, who wants to come see this execution?" They built this brand new, like, gallows grandstand type of thing that was custom made so all 5 could fit and everyone could see. It was so high up and elevated. You've actually seen it in real life or a
I
replica.
I was there in the flesh, and I was shocked by how tall it was. I do have some, like, pictures and videos of, mind you, I am 5'1", but you definitely had to look up to see the nooses being
It's at least
hanged.
Ooh.
Whoa.
It's at least I think you could say noose is
The
hung.
nooses were
Yeah.
hung to hang.
Would you say it's taller than the ceiling, like
Oh,
10 foot?
oh, yeah. It was
Okay.
probably, I could probably look it
Oh,
up.
great.
There's a
Megan's
lot of lookups happening this episode as
Megan's
well.
excited to research this episode.
I was really into this story. But yeah, it is a replica at this point because the original one was burned down because of the fires. But it's kind of like in a back courtyard area,
Mhm.
and supposedly there was about 1,000 people who showed up. They all got invitations.
Well, no, that's not what happened, actually.
Oh, sorry. Am
No,
I
it's
just
okay.
making things up?
Well, they do have these, like you can actually still see them, but there's, like they were sent to I don't know if it was close friends and family, I don't know who these guys had coming to their execution, but they had these, like, formally printed invitations that were like, "You're cordially invited to the execution." But then there was some, like, shisty businessman who said, "You know what? I'm gonna just build a bunch of stands around where the gallows are, and
Mm.
I'm gonna sell tickets to the execution." So he's trying to be this savvy business guy. He sells each ticket for $1.50. There's a local woman named Nellie Cashman, and she finds out about this and is so upset and so disgusted by his plan that she recruits a bunch of people to go and, like, hack away at the stands that he built for the execution. She was like, "This is gross. Like, we're not in ancient Rome." She didn't say that. I'm paraphrasing. But, we don't need this blood sport. So she tries to go and dismantle the stands. But at the end of the day, there was still about 1,000 people that showed up to witness the hanging of the 5 men.
Even that, this story just keeps taking so many different turns, I feel like, because every little thing I'm like, this needs to be a movie yet again.
Yeah.
Why isn't there more on this? Um, I can't find the actual height of the gallows,
Okay.
but
So it says
supposedly
10 to
10
15.
to 15 feet. So
That's pretty
I guess
tall.
it was about 10 feet. It just felt very tall.
They are tall.
Yeah.
So the men who showed up, the 5,
The Bisbee boys.
Bisbee boys, they all show up. They're wearing matching black suits and they have to get their heads shaved, which I'm not
Hmm.
sure if it was like public shaving like we just had in our last episode or if they
Yeah.
just had to show up heads already shaved. Um, but they all said different things. There's different accounts of what they said to the end. It's one of those things where there's not a whole lot online. You have to go and there's like plaques everywhere that tell you what their final words were and things. But a lot of them maintained their innocence until the end, which I don't know how you can since everyone
They
saw
saw
you
you.
kill people. But they all kind of still pleaded their cases. So they all were hanged at the same time, and these were strung up for about 30 minutes for people
Mm.
to see. Not super long if you compare it to, again, medieval times or Tudor times, but
Days.
still, yeah, heads weren't on pikes or anything. But they were hung up for a while, and then eventually they were buried in Tombstone, and you can still go to this day and see their grave sites. They're all right next to each other.
And they have their nicknames on the tombstone. So it'll say like Dan, quote, Big Dan.
Right.
Um,
So it's yeah,
uh,
so it's Big Dan, Tex, Red, York, and Billy.
hmm.
Yeah. And it was quite an era in the Wild Wild West before we were even a state.
I mean, I am impressed by how formal the trial was, and they do have a process for everything. That lynching was not expected. But yeah, I this is just like a classic Western bloody story.
Yeah. And it's crazy to know that Tombstone is the big one everyone knows about, but this one was technically bloodier.
Yeah, at the
Mhm.
OK Corral in comparison.
Yeah.
So we gotta go to Tombstone together.
I was just going to say we need to visit soon. I
Yes.
asked Megan prior to recording. I said, "Do you want to go before or after your surgery?" She
I don't
said
know, I kinda wanna look like I'm like a hanging victim when I go
she wants to go right after the surgery.
right after.
We'll take some
Really
great
gonna scare
pictures.
this. And we kinda wore westerny outfits.
Yeah, I tried to be Western today. I think we've pulled it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's embarrassing is this is the same shirt I wore in Tombstone, so if you do see this and then you see the videos of me, you're going to be like, "Wow, this girl only wears one outfit."
it's okay. I don't know how many people are tracking your outfits, but now they
But
know.
now you know it's all about the details, you gotta look for 'em. Oh,
This is
oh,
my camping shirt.
I like it, it's a nice plaid, like, flannel, it's very westerny.
Thanks,
Elizabeth, Elizabeth,
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Black, you got any final words, little lady?
Boys, not tonight.